After another major injury to the 49ers defense, all signs point to a major defensive change coming. Now the question is, what does that change look like in terms of personnel? How will this defensive coaching staff handle what players they have left on their roster? And what does this all mean for a rookie linebacker who's waiting for his chance to prove himself on this defense? We're going to break that all down for you on the first episode of Niners Digest. Welcome to the channel. My name is Ethan Galbraith, and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any updates we have with the Niners. We're going to give you everything we got, including what's going on with the Niners defense after this major injury. Let's jump right into it, talking about this major injury. The Niners got back in the win column this weekend, down in the desert with a win against the Arizona Cardinals, a major division win, but it came at a cost. Niners linebacker Tatum Bethune, who has been filling in for Fred Warner since the middle of the season when Fred Warner went on IR, suffered a high ankle sprain and is expected to miss multiple weeks. Now, Bethune overall was asked to complete a monumental task, which was fill in for the best linebacker in football. And by a lot of metrics, he played great. Looking at his statistics here, he has, since Fred Warner's absence, been a really good linebacker, especially a really good captain for this defense. Of course, the defense has been inconsistent at times, but that's not all Bethune's fault. And if you look at this tweet from Chase Sr., it really shows Tatum Bethune's impact. He's been one of the NFL's best tacklers in Fred Warner's absence, and leading up to his high ankle sprain, he was well on his way to continue to do that. So with another injury, especially with an injury to a backup linebacker, you have to keep going with next man up. This defense has embodied that all season with mixed results, but they will keep, out of necessity, they will keep doing it. So when you get to your third Mike linebacker, there's questions about who that is going to be. Well, for the San Francisco 49ers, that linebacker will be Curtis Robinson. So for those of you who may not know who this is, Curtis Robinson is a veteran. He's been on the Niners for a few years. A local guy, played college football up the street from Levi's at Stanford University. And he's really defined himself as a special teams ace. That's kind of been his big role on this team, and that's why he has now earned the trust of the coaching staff to take over this Mike linebacker position in both Warner and Bethune's absence. Now, there have been a lot of questions about if this is the right guy, and out of necessity, are they just playing him? But I think it's also important to look at this tweet from 49ers Sports Talk. Talks about Curtis Robinson taking the spot from Tatum Bethune with his injury. But if you keep reading the tweet, there's a third name that gets mentioned that a lot of fans and analysts alike are excited about. But after rewatching the game, Nick Martin's speed and athleticism jump off the screen. If he picks up the scheme, he could be a real force down the stretch for the Niners. Who is Nick Martin? And why are so many people excited about him? Well, I'll tell you why. Nick Martin is a 49ers rookie linebacker, part of this chock full of defensive rookies that the Niners drafted this past season. Nick Martin specifically was taken in the third round out of Oklahoma State. He's a linebacker that a lot of people are really excited about, both outside and inside the organization. But we have not seen him a lot this year, especially on defense. Specifically, this past weekend against the Cardinals were his first defensive reps in the defensive lineup at linebacker. He played 14 snaps and he had 7 tackles, which was solid. So it leads people to wonder, well, why have we not seen more of him? And, in reality, it's because he's not quite proven himself yet. And Robert Saleh talked about this earlier this month. Even before Bethune's injury, he said there's a bit of a learning curve in terms of where he's come from in college to what we're asking him to do. I think he's done a really nice job. He's got to earn it on special teams with D. Winters being the starter. Now, Robert Saleh said 2 very important things there. First of all, talking about D. Winters being the starter, it's important to note that Nick Martin is not a Mike linebacker. He is a weak side linebacker, the same position as D. Winters. So you can't really just plug Nick Martin in to the Mike linebacker position and expect everything to work just well, especially when, part of his second point, of Saleh's second point, he hasn't proven himself enough yet on the special team side, which is more than fair. I understand wanting a rookie especially to prove himself on special teams. That's how Robinson earned his position to take over as the Mike linebacker position on the strong side of the linebackers. Luke Gifford has proven himself on special teams. That's why he's playing on the strong side. That I don't have an issue with. But all signs point to Nick Martin not only wanting to play Nick Martin more, but needing to play him more. And I think that it's something that they shouldn't dread. They should be excited about. Let's look at the depth chart here. You look at the middle linebacker position. Obviously, Bethune will miss multiple games. Fred Warner's still on IR, so you're down to Robinson. As I mentioned, Gifford is on the strong side. And then you have Winters and Martin on the weak side linebacker position. With so many injuries to a linebacker room that is arguably the thinnest in terms of personnel-wise on this entire team at this point, you're going to need to see Nick Martin soon. And I think there's a lot of questions about why hasn't he played up to this point already? Because D. Winters, the player in front of him, has played, by a lot of metrics, a phenomenal season. But he has had some shortcomings, and that is understandable. It's his first season fully filling in for the weak side linebacker position. He filled in, of course, for the great Dre Greenlaw, who left in free agency. But he's had shortcomings, and if you look at these coverage statistics, he's even been a liability in some regards to what the Niners are asking him to do. Now, of course, you want to take it with a grain of salt because the Niners' defensive line has really struggled to get pressure on the quarterback, allowing stuff like this to happen, long defensive pass plays. And you looked against the Cardinals this past weekend with Jacoby Brissett completing all of those completions. It makes sense why this has been an issue. But again, it begs to question, why haven't we seen Nick Martin at least get a chance, more of a chance? And fans and analysts alike have said the same thing. They said, look, going back to Chase Sr., he said, if you're going to allow cornerback Upton Stout to make mistakes and live with the good and live with the bad, why not do the same with a player like Nick Martin? And I think Sr. is completely correct here because Nick Martin has not even gotten the chances that, say, cornerback Upton Stout has gotten. Upton Stout, of course, a Western Kentucky rookie, has gotten his chance, has been in the starting lineup multiple times this season, and he has played great during certain stretches of the season, and he's, made some mistakes, but you expect that from NFL rookies. You're adjusting to the speed of the game, the new systems. All of that makes sense. So I'm not faulting Upton Stout, of course, for his mistakes. I, like a lot of fans, are just questioning why we haven't seen more of Nick Martin so he can have his opportunities to do the same. And with the injuries piling up in the linebacker room and the upcoming schedule especially, all signs again look like Nick Martin is going to get more time, more reps. He doesn't necessarily need to start, and I'm not advocating that he should be in the starting lineup immediately, but if you look at the standings especially, again, we've talked about the Niners having a very workable schedule this whole season, especially down the stretch. You finished playing the Rams both times, you split the season series. But now, after everything and with all of the injuries, you're the last team in right now as it stands for the playoffs at the 7th seed. You have multiple NFC matchups still waiting for you, of course, this coming Monday. The Panthers are coming to town for Monday Night Football. That's going to be a big game. They're looking for an upset in Levi's on primetime. And I think that's a great opportunity to put Nick Martin into the defense and give him more reps. Think about when Tana Bethune stepped in for Fred Warner. It was Sunday Night Football against the Atlanta Falcons, and Bethune played great. The defense played great. I'm not saying that you should expect Nick Martin to do the same and have the same effect. It could be possible, but it's unfair to expect him to do that. But we won't know what he's at all capable of if he doesn't get more reps. So to close out, my final thoughts are, whether the defensive staff thinks he's ready or not, Nick Martin will be getting more reps very soon, and maybe he even starts at some point. I don't think that it's something that people should dread, the coaching staff or anybody else should dread. They should be really excited and pumped up to get Nick Martin more reps. And questions aside about why he hasn't played so far up to this point, doesn't matter at this point. It's next man up on this team. This team is very well still in the playoff race, and they're looking to make a deep playoff run. You think about the offense and the players that they've gotten back recently, this team is gearing up for a playoff run, but they got to get into the playoffs first, and it's a team effort, especially with your two top Mike linebackers down. It shouldn't all be on Nick Martin. It shouldn't at all be on Curtis Robinson. It can be a team effort, and I think that's the defensive change we need, the Niners need, and I'm excited to see how Robert Saleh and his defensive staff work their magic down the stretch of the season. Only time will tell how it works out, but it looks like Nick Martin's going to be getting more reps, and I think that is a great opportunity for him and for the defense as a whole. We'll keep everybody posted, of course, on how this goes, especially the upcoming game against the Panthers on Monday Night Football. But that's all we have for the first video on Niners Digest. Thank you again so much for watching. My name is Ethan Galbraith, and we will see you in the next video.